Hey everybody, thanks for coming. My name is Wilson and I would like to thank you for viewing this video. This is Bullet Sponge Brews. We are here, or I am here, at least to kind of try my hand at mead making. Now, depending on how this goes and everything else goes, I might eventually venture into beers and wines, but right now, mead is what really piqued my interest. Um, like I stated before, this is Bullet Sponge Brews. I kind of got that name because I spent 4 years in the Army. I was 11 Bravo, which is infantry for those of you who don't know. Uh, a common name or nickname for the infantry is Bullet Sponge. So I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I will play off of what I really know and just kind of name it that. Now, this is my first foray into anything like this. Um, I've never done any kind of home brewing before. I've never done any meads, wines, beers, none of that, which is kind of why I wanted to start this channel. I am personally subscribed to quite a few mead making and brewing channels. And while I haven't watched every single video that they've made, I'm wanting to start at the very beginning as a novice, somebody who has no experience in any of this stuff. My approach for this is pretty much the same way that I have approached firearms. I am a huge lover of firearms. As a matter of fact, they're probably my number one passion. But when it comes to firearms, I have a voracious appetite for everything about them, learning about them, the histories, how to shoot them, everything about them. And so I've kind of taken that same approach with mead making. So for the past little while, I've pretty much done nothing but eat, sleep, breathe, all of that stuff, just meads. Now, I did end up picking up a home brewing kit. This home brewing kit is from Homebrew, Ohio. I think I paid $65, and for the most part, it kind of came with everything that you see here. For the most part, there are some things that I did pick up on my own, that I've purchased on my own that have kind of, I feel that would probably help me a little bit better. Now, what came with the mead was we've got a 2-gallon primary fermentation bucket. We have a 1-gallon secondary fermentation bucket, growler, whatever you want to call it. This is what we will transfer our primary fermentation into to help with aging and do all that stuff. It comes with a sticky thermometer. That's pretty cool. Of course, we've got our airlock. This is to prevent you from making bottle bombs. When yeast eat, they produce alcohol and they produce CO2. Eventually, that's can create too much air pressure, can cause the whole thing to explode. We definitely don't want that. So we're definitely going to be relying on our airlock. Along with it, it came with a few different acids. We've got tartaric acid and we've got malic acid. From what I understand, these are to help with the flavor profile of them. On top of that, we have a yeast nutrient. So it gives our yeast something other than just the sugars and stuff to feed on to help us along our way. Obviously, it comes with a packet of yeast. You kind of need those to actually make it, to make your mead. We've got Camden tablets. I apologize. Camden tablets are what help stop your fermentation. So if you get it, if it gets to right where you want it, and then you go to back sweeten it, if we haven't quite hit that the limits of what the alcohol level that the yeast is able to produce, this will actually stop the yeast from producing more alcohol and prevent it, stop it from continuing to ferment. We got some wine tannins. Once again, this kind of helps build up your flavor profile. And then we have our sanitizer. Everything that you see here that we will be using, there are obviously a couple things that I'm not going to be using today because, well, we're just starting our primary fermentation. Everything that is going to be used today is going to be sanitized. Just helps keep out any kind of bugs, germs, bacteria, any of that other stuff. We don't want that. We want to make a good product, and that's what we're here to do. Next, we have our auto siphon. This is what is going to allow us to take our mead from our primary fermentation, put it into our secondary vessel, and along with that, we've got tubing. Then it also came with a hydrometer. This is what is going to allow us to read our specific gravity. It's going to help us determine what our alcohol content is going to be, we will take a gravity reading at the beginning of our fermentation. So as soon as we're done with everything today, we'll take a gravity reading. And then once fermentation is done, we'll take a secondary reading. And number 1 minus number 2, then with some weird multiplication, it'll tell us what our alcohol content is. That is everything that had come in this kit. What I had also picked up is a new set of measuring spoons. I picked up a digital thermometer, so when we rehydrate the yeast, we want it to be at a specific temperature. I'm trying to be as sciencey as possible about this. So we got a digital thermometer. Once it hits the specific temperature that the yeast, it says on the instructions the yeast should be at, we'll add the yeast, we'll rehydrate those. I got just a basic measuring cup. This is what we're going to rehydrate our yeast in. I have a turkey baster. When we go to take our gravity readings, this is what's going to allow us to pull out a sample from our gravity readings, put it in there, and measure our specific gravity. I got a funnel for any kind of additional stuff that we might want to add into this at a later date. That's liquidy, and I don't really want to run the risk of just trying to dump it in there. And then we have a test tube thingy. This is what we're going to put our hydrometer and our sample in, and this is what is going to give us our reading. So I'm going to be right back, and I'm going to go sanitize everything real quick, and I'll come back and we'll get started on this.
A few moments later.
Hey everybody, so I had a bit of a technical glitch. My audio or my video wasn't actually recording, so we missed the whole adding everything together. I do want to apologize for that. I'm going to work on that in the future, and hopefully we'll be able to get this a little better under control. So I did want to apologize for that. To kind of catch you up on what we've done is we have everything sanitized. We have gone through. I am following a recipe for this because this is my first time. I know mead is fairly simple. It's honey, water, yeast. Throw it together, it makes alcohol. I just wanted to kind of make sure that I was doing it right. And so I have a recipe from Homebrew Ohio. Comes with their kit. So I've just been kind of following that. Now to that, I've added 3 pounds of honey, 7 pints of water, 3 teaspoons of malic acid, 1.5 teaspoons of tartaric acid, 1/4 of a teaspoon of tannin, and then to my yeast, which I have hydrating in 95-degree water, I have added 3/4 of a teaspoon of their energizer. We're going to finish letting them hydrate real quick. And then we're going to add everything back together. I do want to once again attempt to tell you where I got my honey from. I did get my honey from a local source. I got them from Cherry Corners Honey. They are just outside of town from here where I live in Missouri. They're actually in Neosho, Missouri. From what I have been told, their bees, for this honey in particular, have been feeding on pumpkin patches for the last little while. Now it's funny because I actually don't like honey. I'm not a big honey person. Which, like I said, is funny because hey, I'm making mead, honey, water, and yeast. It's pretty funny. But I did try this, and this honey is really good. I do actually really enjoy this. My wife made fun of me earlier because she knows I don't like honey, and I had to go back for a second and a third tasting because it does taste really good. So if you guys are in the area of Neosho, Missouri, go ahead and look up Cherry Corners Honey. Send your support to them. Let them know that we here are supporting them as well. And go get you some fantastic honey. So once again, we're going to finish letting this rehydrate. And I'm going to be back in just a few minutes to get this finished up, and we'll take a gravity reading. All right, y'all. So we got everything ready to go. All of our ingredients are in here. Our yeast is fully hydrated. They're actually nice and foamy, which is what we want. It shows us that the yeast are alive and well. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and actually add our yeast to our must. That's what this is called, is a must. And we're going to go ahead and mix that in pretty well. Make sure that all of our acids, our tannins, our honey, and all this yeast is thoroughly combined. We do want to get as accurate of a gravity reading as possible. I have been taking notes, or at least I've been attempting to. Like I said, we've been having some technical difficulties, so I haven't been able to be as studious as I want it to be. But once everything is said and done, I'm going to go ahead and write down the recipe we have. And then for future reference, if something doesn't work out, hopefully I'll be able to go back and figure out, okay, well, maybe I added too much honey, maybe I added too much acid, maybe I didn't add enough. And then hopefully I can make a better batch next time. Now, I do still have a little bit of yeast in here, so I'm going to take a little bit of our must. I'm going to mix it in here, get all of these little yeasties off of here. Give that a quick little stir, and then dump that back in there. We got everything out of there. Now, this should be ready to go. Give it one final mix. Make sure it's nice and aerated. I have seen that in the beginning stages, aerating it in the very beginning isn't that big of a deal. You actually do want oxygen in there. You do want air in there because the yeast can't just subsist off of carbon dioxide. So it's later on in the process that you don't really want any oxygen in there, because when you, I guess, aerate alcohol while it's fermenting, it'll actually turn into vinegar. And we do not want that. So got a little bit of sticky stuff on the side of my whisk. I think that's actually some of the tannins. So make sure that gets all fully incorporated. All right. And now it's time for a gravity reading. For a gravity reading, we're going to take our little test tube and we're going to take our hydrometer. Now, once again, everything here has been thoroughly sanitized. One point that I do want to point out is if you are attempting your own mead and you are a first timer, these hydrometers are extremely fragile, especially up here. You can just feel it. They feel fragile. As a matter of fact, the hydrometer that actually came with this kit actually arrived broken. Now, we did reach out to Homebrew Ohio, or whoever it was that actually delivered the kit, and they made everything right. They sent us a new one right away. So that's always a plus. It's just be really careful with these. It's probably not the first one that's going to get broken, and I can almost guarantee you that I'm going to break this one as well. So I actually already have another hydrometer in the mail. So what we're going to do is we are going to carefully add our hydrometer into here. And we are going to fill this up because we want a gravity reading. And what this gravity reading is going to do is it's going to tell us how much sugar we have in here that is going to become fermentable. And based off of how much sugar we have is going to tell us how much our alcohol content is at when everything is said and done. And you want to put enough in here that it starts to float. So gonna keep adding. Get out of there. Now, also, you kind of want to take it and you want to spin it. Get any extra air bubbles or air pockets or what have you off the side, because that's going to allow you a better gravity reading. And the gravity reading that we have is 1.104. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down. Go ahead and take this out, being very careful. And then we're going to go ahead and just add that back in there. Now, I still haven't quite figured out measurements and all of that other stuff, but we have a specific gravity right now of 1.104. So what this is going to do is when this is done fermenting, we are going to be able to take this. We will subtract the new gravity reading that we'll get once everything is done fermenting, and that will actually tell us what our alcohol content is. So what we're going to do next is we're actually going to get our airlock on. So we're going to take our lid, push down on that. Hopefully that stops being difficult. Apparently it's not going to stop being difficult. There we go. And then we are going to add our airlock. Now, this is a 3-part bubbler airlock. I've seen where some people will add water, add whatever. One of the YouTubers that I follow that they do home brewing stuff, they like to add sanitizers to it. So that's actually what I am going to do. I got a little bit of sanitizer right in here, and I'm just going to go ahead and add that directly into the airlock. Go up to the fill line, and we should be good. Gonna add the rest of that, and then go ahead and add our lid, and we are done. We're going to go ahead and let this ferment. I'll probably check in periodically with you guys weekly, and we'll look at what kind of activity we're dealing with in the airlock. Once the bubbles kind of come to a stop, that'll be about the time that fermentation is done, and we will look at racking it from here to our secondary vessel and potentially looking at starting a new mead. Like I did say before, this is something that I've actually really been interested in for a while. So I've actually got a list of like 27 different meads that I want to attempt. And every kind of mead that you make has a different name. So I've got like 27 of them that I'm wanting to attempt with different fruits, peppers, different liquids, all those other kind of stuff. So I hope that you have enjoyed watching here. I do appreciate it. And I hope that you will continue to join me through my adventures of mead making. If you have any questions or anything like that, feel free to leave a comment. Ask them. I will answer them to my best of abilities. And if you are far more experienced in mead making, I welcome any criticism that you might have. Go ahead and leave a comment below. Tell me what I did right. Tell me what I did wrong. Just let me know. I don't want to screw this up. I don't know anything really about this beyond what I have read. So this is kind of just a trial and error type thing. If, like I said, if you have any comments about what I can do differently, go ahead and leave them. I gladly accept them. Also, if you have any ideas for meads that you would like to see be made, go ahead and leave them. Leave a comment below, and we can see about potentially doing that in the future. Once again, this is Bullet Sponge Brews. I would like to thank you for joining me, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Have a great day.